world where boundaries of memory, identity, and reality can be distorted beyond recognition. What if I told you that there was a machine capable of undoing the very fabric of who you are? A machine designed to erase your memories, only to replace them with something worse. In 1989, an obscure experimental psychological study called the Viresca incident would forever change our understanding of the human mind. The experiment, led by Dr. Richard Marno, was intended to erase deep-seated trauma by removing harmful memories. But what he and his team were about to learn was that some memories aren't meant to be erased. The machine that Dr. Marno and his team developed was meant to be revolutionary. A chamber that could unmake the self by extracting memories, and in some cases the very identity of a person. They believed that by erasing memories, they could cure those who were scarred by trauma. But in their pursuit of this strange new therapy, they unknowingly created something far worse. A path to self-destruction. The first subject was a man named Gregory Ross. His memory was to be erased to relieve him of deep-rooted childhood trauma. But once the machine began, something unexpected happened. At first it seemed normal, but then he began to claw at himself, his skin being torn off in chunks.
I feel what happened with Gregory was we at first underestimated how much he could feel inside the chamber. We did all we could for him to prepare him for the experience, what he'd feel, how he'd react to his instincts. That is to say, how the fight or flight response will kick in and ultimately fight against what the chamber was doing. It's inherently human to want to keep your memories, and the chamber, the machine, removed what made him, well, human.
The doctor's report mentioned that Gregory's eyes widened with terror, but he could not stop himself. It was as if the machine didn't just erase his memories, but also left something behind in their place. Gregory was not the only person to undergo this process. Over the next several months, more test subjects were brought in. After a far more rigorous screening process in order to avoid the meltdown experienced by Gregory, the new participants all initially claimed to have benefited from their experience within the chamber. However, soon the changes in personality became undeniable. The machine had removed the targeted traumatic memories, but the test subjects had begun to show signs that trauma had been replaced rather than removed, and similar behavioral patterns became apparent. The effects were simply delayed. The machine was rewriting the very essence of who these people were. The following extracts are interviews taken before and after the test subjects experienced the chamber. Listener discretion is advised.
Can you tell me how you coped being starved in that camp, Mr. Morris?
Cope? You know, cope. You just enjoy some melee grass or bark when they could. We'd talk about food all the time. What we'd eat when we got home. It sort of helped, but it was torture. I lost over 60 pounds in that camp. He looks at me and he doesn't stop. I can't leave him, he won't let me leave. He needs me. Did I leave my coat here? I'm cold. Did I leave my coat? I can't remember if I brought my coat with me. Did I bring a gun? Doctor, tell me. Did I bring a gun?
Do you remember being captured in the war, Mr. Brown?
It's hard to put into words. I was captured in 1944. Our plane went down over enemy territory. They took me to a camp. Not much more than a few shacks and barbed wire in the middle of nowhere. At first, I thought I could endure it. But then the interrogations began. Psychological games, sleep deprivation, days without food or water. They'd leave me in a pitch black cell for hours, sometimes days, and jerk me out, disorientated and half mad, naked, to face more questions, endless questions.
Do you remember the war, Mr. Brown?
Of course I remember the war. How could I forget a thing like that?
Do you remember coming home, Mr. Brown?
I remember coming home.
Just remind me, where did you fight?
I fought. I fought.
It's okay, Mr. Brown, just take a breath.
I fought for him. Hollow dark.
Take a breath. Tell us a little bit about what happened at your church growing up.
I was just a teenager. My family attended his church every Sunday and he was revered. People trusted him completely. He was kind to everyone, but he paid special attention to me. And looking back, Maud. Won't you come, Doctor? Then he went.
And you know he wouldn't give it up. And even watching from outside, he yelled at me to shoot him. Look on his face. Oh, when I closed my eyes, that's all I sort of see now. His hands are inside me. He's in control. I sit within his eyes. He doesn't like you, Doctor. He really doesn't like you. What do you remember about the,
I don't know what you mean. Who is...
You see, I know you can remember it, Evelyn. I don't understand why you're pretending you can't. Miss Barry, I need you to stop. I need you to calm down. Evelyn, stop. Miss Barry, I need you to calm down. I need you to stop. Close up the doors. No, leave her in here. Leave her in here. It's... Oh, shit.
During the outburst, it is stated that Evelyn's body began to change. Her face stretched unnaturally, her bones cracking as her skin twisted in front of the doctors and researchers present, as though it was becoming someone else entirely. Her screams begged them to heal his pain. When asked who, she repeated the word, him. As her body was torn apart from the inside out, the room was evacuated, and upon return, all that remained of Evelyn was a fleshy mass on the concrete floor. The experiment was shut down immediately after Evelyn's transformation, and the facility was sealed. But the damage had already been done. The subjects who underwent the procedure were no longer the same people. They had become empty shells, no purpose, in need of constant care as more of their memories became erased and replaced with what has been described as an endless worship of an entity only known as him. Some of the researchers claimed that the chamber had been cursed, that it had altered more than just the subject's memories. It had consumed them, and worse, the machine's effects were not isolated to just the subjects. People who had come into contact with the machine began to experience memories that weren't their own, often as if they were living the lives of others.
Some days I wake up and I'm not sure my own name, but I can remember this hunger, being stuck in a room full of withering bodies, the desperation to eat. Some people eating bark and grass, anything, thinking what extent I might go to just to survive. But I'm told I never experienced any of it, and I can't even place when in my life it might have been. And then I remember the eyes watching me, always watching. I close my eyes and his eyes are there. Such pain. I would do anything. Anything to please him.
No, I go home at night and my family are there. Both my sons and my daughter and her loving husband. There's nothing extraordinary about us, but I remember losing one. A child, that is. Now, my husband would never lift a hand to harm me. There's another man, and he did. And I lost my little Rosie. These dark, painful eyes, watching me. I would do whatever he asked if it meant I could heal that pain for him.
There was no way to truly turn the machines off. Its influence continued to spread. It's said that if you listen long enough, you can still hear the ticking of the chamber, the endless, unstoppable march of time, rewinding, undoing, erasing. You may never truly know if you're you